The Lord be with you. Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. The 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had ordered them. When they all saw him, they worshipped, but they doubted. Then Jesus approached and said to them, "All power in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always until the end of the age." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. That get your attention? Over the years I've been privileged to conduct many meetings in many different groups. The hard part sometimes is getting people's attention just to start the meeting. We might have a gavel or maybe somebody will take their ring and try to get their attention, or the glass, the spoon on the glass, anything. But I haven't found anything that gets people's attention like invoking the Holy Trinity. But what a mystery. The great doctor of the church, St. Augustine of Hippo, spent over 30 years working on a treatise about the Holy Trinity in an effort just to try to come up with an explanation of the mystery. There's a story that sort of goes like this. It said Augustine met a boy on a beach. He was walking along the seashore, trying to understand the mystery of the Holy Trinity. When all of a sudden he saw this young lad run across in front of him, running down to the water and back. As he looked, he noticed the boy was using a seashell, dipping in the water, running back, and throwing the water into a hole in the sand. We've all seen that. Well, this great bishop approached the young man and said, "My boy, what are you doing?" And the lad said, "I'm trying to bring all the sea into this hole." The boy just smiled. Well, the bishop said, "That's impossible, my child. That hole cannot possibly contain all that water." The boy stopped, stood up and looked into the eyes of the great saint and said, "It's no more impossible than what you're trying to do. To comprehend the immensity of the mystery of the Holy Trinity with your small intelligence." Well, the bishop was pretty startled at this. I can imagine, who talks to a bishop that way? I don't. But when he looked back, the boy was gone. Now, some say it was an angel sent by God to teach Augustine a lesson in the pride about learning. Others say maybe it was a Christ child who appeared just to remind him of the limits of our human understanding before the great mysteries of our faith. Every year, as I present our faith to the RCIA candidates, I have that one weekend, or sometimes two, where I have the impossible task of trying to explain the Holy Trinity. As humans, we all want to understand everything. We have to take things apart and get the manual and know all about it. But when it comes to our faith, there just seems to be something we just can't quite grasp at. And the Holy Trinity is certainly one of those things. We try to use all kinds of descriptors. There's examples of St. Patrick and the shamrock. There's an example, have you heard the example about the egg? You have one egg, but inside is the yolk, the white, and then there's the shell. sometimes something's missing still. What about water? Water comes, it's all water, H2O. But it's ice, it can be liquid, or it can be steam. We have these examples, but they all fall short. It just doesn't quite reach the mystery of the Holy Trinity. Scott Hahn is a popular Catholic theologian, and he had a very interesting approach to the Trinity that I like. He explains that so often we give up when it comes to this mystery because we approach the mysteries like we approach a math problem. But the doctrine of the Trinity says it's three persons in one God. 3 in 1. 3 doesn't equal 1. So how do we look at that? Well, math isn't the answer, obviously. So how do we understand the Trinity? Well, Scott Hahn suggests that the mystery is better understood less like a math problem and more like a marriage. Going, huh? I've been married. In his book, The Signs of Life, Scott Hahn writes, he says, "We cannot ever figure out a spouse, but we can certainly grow in love, knowledge, and understanding of that person." That's a little clearer. Scott goes on to say that the Trinity is a loving relationship we hope to know forever in heaven. If we're not growing in our love of that mystery, we're not growing any closer to heaven. And if that's so, then our faith is superficial. It's this image of marriage that helps us to understand the true mystery of the Trinity. God is not alone in heaven. The Godhead, the Trinity, is a community of love. Father loves the Son from all eternity. The Son receives and returns this love from all eternity. And the love that they share is divine and so intense that it's the third person, the Holy Spirit, proceeding forth from them from all eternity. This image of the Holy Trinity as the lover, the beloved, and the love they share is what St. Augustine finally came up with. It's an image that we can all relate to. In a marriage, we see a husband who loves his wife so much that he gives his life, all that he has, to her. She receives that love completely and loves him completely in return. And the love they have is so intense that proceeding from that love is the third person, a child. Pope St. John Paul II wrote in his series of 129 talks called The Theology of the Body, he said, God Himself is a communion of persons in the Trinity. Man became the image and likeness of God, not only through his own humanity, but also through the communion of persons which man and woman form right from the beginning. I think if we need to look at some way to understand the mysterious concept of the Holy Trinity, we need to look deeply into the pure, encompassing love of a union of a man, a woman, and the child that is a product of that child. Sometimes all our marriages don't look that way. But we're not perfect. We're not the Holy Trinity. But it's that image, if there's something we can grasp, something that we can relate to see the love that God has for us, the love of the Holy Trinity. This love, the love of a man and woman, the love that produces that child, is a love that we can at least start to grasp. It's a love that's a reflection of God. And it's through that symbol of a man and a woman created in His image. Still having trouble with the Trinity? Still can't buy it? All I can suggest is maybe add a little faith. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.